All right, so I'm gonna play tomorrow. So don't get your hopes up. I'm gonna play tomorrow, but what I wanted to talk about was these par threes. I've been talking about these par threes all week, and that they're just shitholes. And so I went through my odd bracket, my practice account bracket, and I counted up every time somebody had ended up with a birdie, or excuse me, a par on one of the par threes. So I broke it up into the top 50 and the bottom 50. And in the top 50, on hole number 2, 9 people, or 18% of the bracket of the top 50 players, ended up with, either on the front or on the back, ended up getting a par on hole number 2. That is big. That is massive, right? 18% of the people at the top. There was only 3% of the people, or excuse me, there was only 3 on hole number 5. There was 3 people, which is 6% of the bracket, ended up with a par on hole number 5. And then on hole number 8, there was only 1. So 2%, right? On the people who didn't qualify, this is why I'm saying, like, if you go out there, you have to be strategic about it, because like not failing on those par threes can be the difference between making the weekend round and moving along, or not making the weekend round. In the bottom 50, the numbers were staggering. On hole number 2, there was 19 people who, either on the front or the back, ended up getting a par. That's 38% of the bracket ended up with a par on the lower, in the bottom 50, ended up with a par on hole number 2. Hole number 5 was the same thing. 19 people ended up, that's 38% of the bracket. So, and then on hole number 8, it was 5 people, or 10% of the bracket. So now there were some other holes that people failed on, especially in the lower 50. There were some holes that people failed on. Hole number 4, there was 6 people. Hole number 7, there was 4. Hole number 6, there was 1. But hole number 2, and I mean, if you look at the bottom 50, these are big numbers. Like hole number 2, bracket wide, it was 28% of the people in the bracket ended up with a par on hole number 2. Now, obviously, the people that are playing in the top 50 that made the tournament had a whole lot less errors than the people that were at the bottom. But especially if you're new and you're trying to continue on with the tournament, trying to play in the weekend rounds, we're obviously in the weekend round now. But if you want to get up higher in the bracket, you don't want to make a mistake. Going to a par 4 and not getting the eagle is one thing. Going to the par 5 and not getting the Albie is one thing. But going to a par 3 and not getting at least a birdie is a round killer. So be safe on those par 3s. And here is a real staggering number. There was 90 people that finished the rounds in my bracket. And of those 90, we have 3 par 3s per side times 2 sides. That's 6 par 3s, right? Times 90 is 540. 540 times people played the par 3s, and there was 1 hole in 1 out of 540 tries. So if you're out there and you're thinking, wow, I really need to go for this to try and get the hole in 1, trust me, at least in my bracket, there wasn't very many hole in 1s. Okay? 1 out of 540 is not like, that's how crappy these par 3s are with the pin placements that they have out there. That, the goal is to get a birdie. Don't ruin your round in the weekend round, because we really want to be focused on the par 4s and the par 5s, trying to pick up those eagles, trying to pick up that Albie. And would it be nice to get a hole in 1? Yeah, it would be nice to get a hole in 1. But what's funny is the person that got the hole in 1 had 2 other holes that they got pars on. So it didn't really help them. They got a par. I think they parred hole number 2 both times through, and this hole in 1 I think was on hole number 5. Let's see here. No, it was on hole number 8. So we don't have really good opportunities to get hole in ones here. So be safe out there this weekend. Everybody have a great weekend round. Just get on the greens on the par threes. Play as safe as you can. Use your rocket. I'm using my rocket on all three of the par threes, and the middle par three you're using a wood, but on the first one and the last one I'm using my rocket, and I'm just going to try and stick it to the cup and move along, little doggy. Thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell, leave me a comment. If you got any good news, or if you look at your bracket, leave me a comment on that stuff. I read them all. Thanks for watching.